these fans or MatPat has figured it all out?
Actually, one person did.
One person did.
And it got 2 likes.
Wow.
If you can find that.
So someone out there has got it.
Yeah, one person got it. People generally thought it was real footage, and they thought these were like Joe Biden's human trafficking tunnels under a mountain. From the beginning, I had like a very specific timeline that this whole story abides by. The film as well, that fits into it.
Caralho, eu quero ver esse vídeo, velho. The truth about the backrooms.
Any of these fans or MatPat has figured it all out.
Actually, one person did.
One person did.
And it got 2 likes.
Fui eu.
Wow.
If you can find that.
So
É o meu tweet falando da lore inteira do Backrooms.
someone out there has got it.
Yeah, one person got it. People generally thought it was real footage, and they thought these were like Joe Biden's human trafficking tunnels under a mountain. From the beginning, I had like a very specific timeline that this whole story abides by. The film as well, that fits into it. I would never set up a mystery not knowing the answers myself.
Is there food?
How do you define food? On the scale between soup and table, like how close to table are you able to get?
These responses scare me more than the backrooms. This adds such a layer to it. Hi, I'm Shane Top. You might know me from Smosh or my 2-minute appearance
Smosh.
on the hit Nickelodeon series iCarly.
Caralho!
Today, I am joined by Kane Parsons, creator of the hit internet horror series, The Backrooms. Kane, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Shane. It's an honor.
Thank you. So what is The Backrooms and how did you popularize it?
So the Backrooms originated essentially as sort of the combination of 2 4chan posts. Initially, there was this image that was posted to the board that we've since discovered was taken at a shop in Wisconsin, but that was paired by another user with a caption basically outlining the concept of if you no-clip, which is a video game or just like computer design term, out of reality in the wrong places, you'll end up in the backrooms, which is just these infinite, dingy, yellow office spaces.
It's kind of like if life is a simulation.
Yeah,
like clipping out of the simulation.
It definitely implies that. It implies a sort of gaminess to it, but just kind of like what's lurking underneath our urban reality.
But you then made a series on it.
Yeah, in 2019, it sort of first appeared as
Esse
a meme.
filme dele vai sair ou não vai?
I opened Blender, did like a test demo to see if I could like, you know,
Tem que sair esse
recapture the
filme,
energy
cara.
that you feel from those images. And that turned into what is the first Backrooms video on my channel, Backrooms Found Footage, which it far exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, it is now culminated into an A24 movie.
Yes, that is correct.
Be directing.
Which is still very strange to think about, even though it's been about 2 years.
That's pretty incredible, man.
Yeah, no, it still feels unreal. It's just been great. They've done nothing but really just support the vision that I've tried to put forward with this, and they're definitely trying to just replicate what happened on YouTube.
That one video you made caused such a stir, was such a big hit. It caused such a surgence of backroom stuff and a lot of response. And you're aware that Smosh even made a sketch.
I am aware.
Based on your Backrooms video.
Yes, I am.
I told you.
Very honored.
Yeah, I told you I saw that video and I, for like a year, was pitching like a sketch based off of it. I was like, it'd be so funny if we go all in, we do it, we make it creepy, but it's a little funny, but I'm proud of it. But I hope it showed I'm such a huge fan.
I truly, truly do appreciate it.
Well, let's get into some assumptions.
All right.
Here. You're sick of being known only as the Backrooms
Com
guy.
certeza.
I wouldn't say sick because I'm very grateful for everything that has come from this. However, I'm not at all looking to make Backrooms just my one life project. I want to think that I'm moving towards a better version
Mas
of what
já
I'm
não é
doing
mais,
now,
velho. Ele
always.
já tem 2 projetos. Aquele lá do shopping é muito mais pica ainda, mano.
But as long as people
Do
are
bicho do
seeing the
shopping.
stuff, I don't really matter too much.
adorei
It's
o do
mostly the
shopping,
work
mano.
that I care about.
Okay, I didn't write this assumption, so this
Okay.
is not coming from me.
No, that's fine.
The Backrooms is for kids and is just a trend until the next Five Nights at Freddy's gets created.
Without a doubt, the Backrooms was fertile ground to, like, you know, make a lot of YouTube Kids content. A lot of those creators jumped on it for good reason. It's kind of just a sandbox to throw wacky characters into. I'm so grateful every day that it didn't get merged
Eu coloco depois, Galk.
into brain rot lingo in the same way, like, it didn't fuse with Skibbity Toilet. Skibbity
Ah,
Toilet
meu Deus do céu.
took all, they're the fall guy. To a kid, it's approachable because it looks clean and it feels clean, and it's scary, but it's like easy scary for them. It's a very tame horror short, and truthfully, I don't even find it that scary. So
Wow.
people like the Backrooms because it's
Or mesmerizing.
yeah, it's kind of like an intriguing space, like walking around in a dream.
Why do you think kids love horror so much?
My whole life, I've always been attracted to scary things. Like
Criançada
being
gosta,
younger
mano.
on the internet, I would try to seek out stuff that is like
Criançada gosta de
a
terror.
video pops up, it's clearly scary. Do I click? There's just like kind of an urge, whether or not it's like morbid curiosity, even if the stuff technically isn't that morbid. I think it's just again, it's just like typical human fascination with taboo subjects. But if you're a kid, that threshold is so much wider. So, I mean, like a film theory, Five Nights at Freddy's video seems very, if you're like 7, ooh, I don't know, I'm probably not supposed to be watching that. That's pretty scary, man.
What it reminds me of, I mean, it's similar to
sei lá, mano,
creepypasta,
no
where
final
it's
nem é
this
mais-
kind
nem
of
é mais assustador,
interactive
velho.
feature that I feel like
Acho que nem
kids
pra criança
love
de 5 anos, né,
to
mano?
discuss with each other and be like the ones who are figuring it out. You know, it's like it kind of is this medium in which they can communicate with each other and be part of this story sort of thing. Like, I remember when I was a kid, it was still more like kind of more so urban legends in your own school or your own neighborhood, and you would talk about things. But then you get online and you would talk about like some video game or some movie.
It's like a bonding exercise.
I think it's bonding. I think, I don't know, that's,
Well, it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, if you like, before the internet or anything, if there's like a scary man that'll roam your neighborhood or something, you and your friends
Quartos
were
ou a
all
franquia?
familiar with
Eu
him
acho
and make
também.
up some
A partir
story
do 4
about
começou a dar
how
merda.
he drags
Sister
children
Location,
in
né?
the sewers or
Yeah.
something. And it's like,
Não,
I think
Sister-
it's
a partir de
always
Sister
been a
Location. O
curiosity
4
to
ainda é
like,
bom.
you make up the story, you're scared of this guy,
Bagulho
but
da
then you like
criança lá.
follow him around from a
Na cama.
distance and like,
Yeah.
it's just
Os bichos lá,
a fascination
Nightmare,
with
né?
that sort of thing.
Esse ainda é
yeah,
bom.
and I would say, you know, horror is like kind of, in a way,
Depois
it's like
desse
one of
que
the
é uma
most
merda.
creative things because we're kind of creating out of our own feelings and stuff. And what your backroom stuff does have in common with Five Nights at Freddy's and other things like it is there's a bunch of unknown, and people love to take that unknown and try to like give answers to all those
Yeah,
pieces. of
unknown is always, that's what drives everything.
Yeah. You feel pressured to keep making Backrooms content.
A bit, but not really, because from the beginning I had like a very specific timeline that this whole story abides by. The film as well, that fits into it. Like every bit of Backrooms related media I put out is going to fit into that timeline somewhere. I can't stand retcons. I like having everything figured out as immediately as possible, and if I run out of creative mileage there, then I just do another series.
Are you kind of saying you see a definitive end that you know for your Backrooms content?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all working to a certain point. I would never set up a mystery not knowing the answers myself. Like, that's very valuable to me. It took us a while, but I feel we've struck a good balance between giving the fans of the
Isso é bom,
series
isso é bom.
real solid material to chew
É,
on.
tem que ter um
like,
conteúdo
more
sólido
added
que ele já
stuff
tem
that
ideia do que vai
moves
acontecer, do que vai
elements
rolar
of-
pra
of-
frente, não só criar um mistério que ele não sabe o que vai ser pra frente e depois ir criando. Eu acho que ele tem que já criar pegar um bom tempo, como ele falou, e tipo, criar todo um roteiro, um futuro e um fim, tá ligado? Porque é um bagulho muito complicado, muito aberto, com um monte do desconhecido dentro da porra do Backrooms, tá ligado? E se ficar nesse desconhecido, eu acredito que talvez ele tenha beitando um pouco. Eu acho que muita coisa que ele fez no Backrooms aí, ele deve ter provavelmente só feito e, tipo, não sabia o que ia ser o futuro, tá ligado? Mas aí eu acho que aí ele sacou que ele não quer virar pó no FNAF, que só fica no loop de merda, de podre, de ruim, e ele agora, tipo, mano, deve ter tudo pronto até o final. Que ele vai provavelmente contar isso no filme e depois outros filmes, talvez, em sequência, tá ligado? Com certeza. Mas tem que ir logo esse filme, cara. Eu quero ver.
the
Cara, é mó
story
gênio.
forward, while also keeping it open enough to people who maybe don't know what the Backrooms are. If the first movie does very well, the ideal scenario creatively would be to finish it off with like a 9-episode limited series.
Do you ever think about any other mediums outside, like if someone was like,
Mas
oh,
aí-
I want to write books.
Série da A24 saindo pra onde? Faz o filme, aí começa a história e depois uma série de 9 episódios de 1 hora. E aí vai pra onde essa série? Não vai pra Netflix, vai pra Apple, provavelmente. Porque a A24 puxa coisa pra Apple. Ia ser foda, mano. Ia ser foda, velho. Não ia? Porra. Eu ia achar do caralho, na minha opinião.
On this or something? Do you think that would be a good medium as
I've
well?
thought about it a lot. I have been just spending a lot of time really solidifying the timeline and like getting things down. And it's not like something I would expect to hand off to people because it is so dense. It's mostly just a for me thing and kind of like a a big personal Wikipedia for the story and everything.
Are you talking like hundreds of pages of
I think it's at
information?
like 71 or something.
Wow.
It kind of helps by being forced to put them on paper somewhere. It helps me just find the characters as I'm going through that process. I mean, it really helps lock it in.
I think it shows in your work that there's a lot of depth there that we don't see. So like, even if it's just a video where, you know, someone's going through a hallway and there's some writing on the walls, I feel like it comes through that there are more details that we don't know about. And I think that's part of the eeriness to a lot of what you make.
Yeah, I always try to take a less is more approach with that. Like, always feel like there's a lot there, but we're only getting to see a small part of it.
The constant theory crafting by fans is a major part of why the Backrooms is still popular.
I think it's always lent itself to to that crowd of people who do theorize. I mean, I grew up watching various channels that, like, you know, cover ARGs, web series, just strange internet rabbit holes. And really, I kind of made it with the hope, like the dream scenario was to have a channel cover my stuff and talk about it and like theorize on it. Like that was kind of the dream goal. So it definitely brings in that crowd. And it's nice to know that like there's, not always, but I mean, there's a significant group of people out there who will wait 3 years on a film or on the next episode of a video, just because, I mean, honestly, that's how long it's starting to take on some of these projects.
You're annoyed by all of the Backrooms memes.
I haven't actually seen that many. So no, I'm not.
I haven't seen one. I don't know if I've seen a Backrooms meme.
Well, I would consider it started as a meme. Like
I guess a scary meme. I've never thought about scary memes.
I don't know. It connects with people in a vague way, and that's what I like about the concept, and that's kind of what I like to seek out with other projects.
Não, viu?
Things that
Mano, eu
are
acho esses
on
filmes
your
meio back uma
peripheral,
bosta,
on your
maioria.
periphery, that you're vaguely
Meio
aware
podrão.
of, but have maybe never talked to people about or really thought about to.
Pior que a Apple faz série boa, junto com a 24 deve ficar muito... Eu acho que tem alguma série da 24 na Apple lá, no Apple TV. É, mano, o CGI vai ser bom. O último filme da 24 lá, daquele da guerra lá, do Civil War com o brasileiro, o do Tropa de Elite, esqueci o nome dele. É o... Puta, esqueci o nome dele. É muito bom, mano. O CGI que tem naquele filme é muito bom. Vai sair bagulho foda, não tem como não. Tipo assim, o Civil War não foi tipo potência que nem a maioria dos filmes da 24, que a maioria ganhou Oscar, tá ligado? Não é que posta não, depois sai, Raito. A Netflix pega os direitos, mas os episódios saem em sequência, a maioria lá na Apple. Tem umas séries lá que eu esqueci o nome que na Apple dá 24.
But it's always there, so when someone does sort of materialize it into something, you have a pre-built connection with it.
The Backrooms got ruined by the life forms. The real horror is the unknown.
Well, yeah,
com
obviously.
certeza, eu desconheci mesmo.
With my work, that's a criticism that I see semi-often, which I
Eu
think
acho que o
is
desconhecido é mais
mostly...
assustador, mano.
I don't want to say it's like unfounded.
sabe que vai ser no
However,
futuro,
I mean, within my body of work, the emphasis, if you've watched it, it's not really on the life forms or anything. It's mainly just the first short that has it in the thumbnail, and that kind of just instills the idea, okay, this is all just monster horror,
Right.
when really the majority is not that. Fans of the concept, after I put out the first short, created a surge. The easy, obvious thing to do is put a monster in there. So the majority of Backrooms material has a monster, but mine doesn't really focus on that too much.
Because I've watched most of your content, and there's meaning to every single piece of furniture and every item in your videos, including there was one that really stood out to me was the cardboard cutout of a caveman. I thought that was very interesting, just sitting right in the middle of a room. There's meaning to all of these things, or are they just random pieces of furniture you're putting in
Again,
place?
I try very hard to not make any arbitrary decisions. It usually takes a while to figure out what the shot is going to be exactly. When it comes to like the wooden board floor texture, maybe don't theorize on that.
So you talk about people looking into the code, looking into the textures you're using. There's a lot of theories. I've even seen in the comments of your videos, people have tons of theories about stuff, including Matt Pat, who's made many theories. Any of these fans or Matt Pat has figured it all out?
No. I mean,
Are they close? Have they gotten close at all?
I mean, there are things you can, like elements have been gotten correct. If I can be completely blunt, I feel that the film theory interpretation is fairly off. I don't like view all of this religiously, but I do like sort of taking some time to just see where everyone's at, thinking about it. And I don't think it's possible to know exactly where things are going because there's components that haven't been shown yet.
Yeah.
But I think there are a few people, surprisingly, like maybe there's been a few comments with very few likes and stuff that have gotten it more than anyone else
Interesting.
yet. Oh, actually, one person did.
One person did.
And it got 2 likes.
Wow.
So if you can find that,
So someone out there has got it.
yeah, one person got it.
That's awesome. I got to say, I'm jealous of your
Hey,
fan
Omar.
base. Putting a ton of work into theorizing about the content you're making. Our fan base loves to theorize a lot about our own personal relationships and personal life sometimes.
That's great.
Yeah, it doesn't probably help that they theorized for years on me and my coworker's relationship, and then we did get married. So we
Because of that.
because of them. We had to. We have to prove their theory to be true. I saw on the comments on your oldest view series, people had so many theories. They were breaking it down, paragraphs of people talking about.
That was, yeah,
they
definitely
think it
my
was.
most creative and rewarding project ever. The whole project
It's
is very much
absurd.
built around the real world, and its aim is not to be an alternate reality. It's kind of just like a dramatized realization of
It's
these
absurd.
real places that existed. Like all the shops in the mall existed at a point in time. The giant existed, that was real. I mean, all of it was real. All of these characters,
It's
all of
absurd.
the legal entities that get mentioned in there and stuff. It's all real, and it's just kind of an ideation on that, and it kind of like manifests the thoughts you could have on these things
Esse eu acho melhor que
in
Backrooms
a
ainda.
more tangible, monstrous way.
The Backrooms and perhaps stuff with the oldest view as well reflects your struggle with mental health.
I wouldn't say that. I would consider myself to be, I don't know if it's a luck-based thing, but I don't particularly struggle with mental health much. I have been experiencing, I'm not diagnosed on this, but like a sort of chronic stress. I think that's for sure something that I do have going on, but for sure all of these projects come from the exploration of just existential thinking that like sort of like, bores holes in me pretty intensely. I mean, I mentioned with Anthony, like got a big fear of death and not like a tangible thing, not like I'm afraid a bus is gonna hit me when I go outside, but just more of like these things like not existing forever and not having awareness of your
You're scared of the unknown.
Well, yeah, it's the unknown aspect,
Interesting.
but yeah, like, that's just an example of like, they dictate my life in the sense that they produce such great emotion that I want to try to just explore those feelings in a more literal way.
Yeah.
It consumes all my time. I think about these things for hours and hours and hours a day. It really is my whole world, between research, the technical process of making these things, and then just brainstorming and thinking, like spend hours just thinking, pacing and thinking. Yeah, I really don't have many complaints. I think I like being part of the machine.
Okay.
Tá bom.
All right. I think that goes into our next assumption pretty well. You could upload more or have more of a break, but you refuse to work with a team.
I don't refuse to work with the team.
Ele trabalhou com o time
I
lá.
have just I have not assembled a team yet. I
Okay.
have not done that. And it's one of those things where these projects are all coming from such a personal place that creatively it's hard to part with that.
Yeah.
And getting a team wouldn't be that. If I were to have a team, I would ideally be seeking out more technical roles.
Sure. Someone to help you build out an
Cara, ele
entire
é gênio,
mall.
mano.
Which I did.
Dallas,
Thank you,
yeah.
Corrupt,
Ele é
for
muito
that.
gênio,
Big shout
mano.
out to Corrupt, a user who, on the Discord server that I'm not too active on, but my fans have a server, and there are a lot of talented artists on there who are sort of doing things in a similar way as to how I do them, and that's led to me sort of crossing paths with a few of them on some projects, and it's really neat. What you can do with technology now it's not easy, but it's easier than it's ever been.
Ah, mas
If you
sempre vai
have
ser
any
mais
interest, I
fácil.
really can't stress enough. Try Blender. There's a lot of student licenses out there. If you are a student, that's been a big help.
That's great advice. Your YouTube uploads are now limited due to studio contracts.
No,
Não?
no, that is not correct. That was the thinking for a little while, because I didn't post Backrooms really at all since the film deal got announced in February 2023. There were no more Backrooms uploads until just quite recently. But while there was some like negotiation stuff that had to take place, just with like tweaking a few things with the contract, there was never any opposition to it. It's mostly just like legal minutia we had to square out, and now it's just fine. They're not interested in standing in the way of that because it's all, they like, I mean, all the producers are, they just like seeing the YouTube series still exist, and if I want to do more with it, that's cool, and it's mostly just been like a personal choice to not post too much Backrooms, and as for the other stuff, that's, everything else is kind of just still within my control.
You're sick of people focusing on your age.
At this point, it's great because I'm getting old enough now. I'm 19 now, not 16. Despite the last thumbnail saying viral at 16, I have not lived that down. That is still very much a joke in my community of like, wow, I can't believe Kane created this at only 3 years old, and all that. I mean, I don't think about it too much. I mean, it doesn't impact my experience. I work
Caralho, o moleque tem 19 anos, ele é muito cabeça, muito certo, muito Mano, você é louco, é muito gênio, mano. Esse moleque vai fazer um trabalho gigantescamente absurdo com a 24 fazendo esses Backrooms, velho. Vai ser absurdo, mano.
In time in that regard too much. Like, I mean, I got things that you typically attribute to someone who's been working for longer earlier. But I'm not under some like impression that that's specifically strictly due to hard work. I'm sure there's a good amount of luck in that. I mean, just algorithmic, just the way that first video took off is, I mean, I don't know how that happened.
I mean, I guess that's the nature of YouTube. Nobody really knows how anything takes off. The Async,
filme de terror não, mano, porque o horror dele que ele faz é um horror diferente. Eu acho que vai ser o melhor filme de cam, mano. Tipo, de câmera. Daquele mesmo estilo do Rec, do Cloverfield. Esse vai ser o melhor filme, mano. Esse filme vai ser muito bom, eu tenho certeza, velho. Esse moleque é muito cabeça, velho.
Is based on real government organizations.
Well, yes, I do a lot of research into that.
Imagina, tu vai no cinema e chora pro cara que caiu no Backrooms e morreu.
One thing I found is that...
Talvez não morra. Ele acabou de falar que vai ter um filme e ele pretende fazer séries. Ele acabou de dar spoiler que o filme não vai ser o início da história, tá ligado? Então provavelmente ele não morre ainda, mano. O cara quem vai ser o protagonista de toda a história da Async e os caralho a 4 aí, mano. Research.
Takes off. The Async, the fictional group that studies the Backrooms, is based on real government organizations.
Well, yes, I do a lot of research into that. One thing I found is that there's like there's always been, and this makes sense why people would group it with this, but it's always been grouped with like the SCP Foundation and
right.
Sort of, you know, the idea of this sort of militarized research group that has like a giant big evil building and like basements with all these anomalies in it and all these things, but that's never really been the idea. With Async, I've always thought of it more as like, rather than that, it's kind of framed more like a dentist office, like in terms of atmosphere that comes into contact with the Backrooms, and it's kind of, we're seeing their process of sort of upscaling and merging with an actual government agency and seeing how they're changing their protocols, who's coming in, who's leaving, how things are evolving as they sort of dissolve into the Department of Energy over a period of time, and some other people who may show up. But that's one of the things that that's kind of one of the main things I'm excited about with this project, which hasn't shown up too much in the series yet, but
okay.
That's one of the main focuses.
The Backrooms is influenced by found footage horror films.
Yes, it is subconsciously. I watched Blair Witch when I was like 10 once. Consciously, no, I'm not drawing from too much.
Blair Witch é foda. Blair Witch é peso. A sensação é muito diferente, mano. Deu vontade de assistir esse filme de novo, velho.
I watched Blair Witch when I was like 10 once. Consciously, no, I'm not drawing from too much. I'm sure on YouTube, I mean, there's so much stuff that I watch a lot of. It's not fictional, but I watch a lot of body cam footage. I'm generalizing with the term body cam, sort of referring to like urban exploration as well. Just any sort of experience where you have a camera on a person. I think it's kind of instilled like a subconscious like rhythm for how these things feel. And it's just, I don't know, I try to emulate that, try to just fake reality rather than try to think about it as a fictional thing. The best version of what I do, I like to think of actually trying to fool people into thinking this is real.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not basing this stuff off of fictional films, you're basing it off of real life footage that you're seeing.
Yeah, that's the main thing that inspires me. Which I should say, crowning achievement is with The Oldest View, part 2, where he finds a hole. The character Wyatt finds a hole.
Ele adorou falar do Oldest View. Olha o jeito que ele mudou só pra falar do Oldest View. Mano, o Oldest View é muito melhor, mano. Não tô comparando não, mas o Oldest View, ele pega todo o trabalho que ele sabe, todo o conhecimento dele, ele faz essa obra-prima. Por isso que eu acho que o Backrooms, com todo o conhecimento que ele tem hoje, nesse filme ele vai sair um bagulho muito foda, mano. O Oldest View é muito bom, mano.
Inspires me. Which I should say,
Olha lá.
crowning achievement is with the Oldest View, part 2, where he finds a hole. The character Wyatt finds a hole in the woods with a staircase that goes down. And then there's the mall is at the bottom of that after like a mile
Bagulho
of
de
walking.
real footage,
An edited version of that got circulated on, it was Instagram, and then I also got sent stuff on Facebook. People genuinely thought it was real footage, and they thought these were like Joe Biden's human trafficking tunnels
Yeah.
under a mountain that leads to a mall.
I was going to say, it was a matter of time till boomers found your stuff and were like, well, there it is, man. It's real.
What?
Yeah, they're like, this is so concerning.
That's terrifying for them that they think that's real footage.
It's, the fog is coming.
Unfortunately, the stuff looks too
O Fog tá chegando.
good for.
Caralho, mano, IA tá aí, né, mano? Os velhinhos não vai tancar. Os velhinhos que não sabem de nada dos bagulho aí, que acha que tudo é real, não vai tancar, velho.
It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
The world the world they're living in is terrifying.
It is. You have to kind of be trained to interact with this technology
Yeah.
in a socially cohesive way.
I mean, literally, when you were born, like where the internet was at was so different from me. I mean, it occurred to me, you are the same age as Smosh itself, which is a crazy thought.
Almost YouTube.
And YouTube. I mean, you were not alive before it. I mean, that's a shocking thought. It's fascinating. I mean, it's really interesting. But I mean, in our conversations before this, you talk about, I feel like how you individually engage with media is different even amongst your peers who are your age.
I think so. I mean, I'm not on most social media. I don't spend too much time. I'll use YouTube. I am on Instagram. And sometimes I do definitely get a healthy dose of brain rot. I mean, that's the term, that term is very like,
Everyone should get a little bit.
yeah, but that term, like if you're watching this a year from now, that
Brain
term is
rot.
going to feel probably fairly dated, I would think.
Things move so fast.
Though I have noticed, like, it's been interesting. The past, I feel like some of these things aren't dying. Like, it took a while for memes to die, like, in the 2010s. Then it sped up a ton.
É, tanto
Yeah.
meme.
From 2019 to 2022, got very fast. I feel like I've been hearing about Skibbity Toilet for, like, over a year now, and that doesn't usually happen. Like, saying what the Sigma has become a thing that, like, I know people, myself included, unfortunately, once or twice, upon stubbing your toe or something, actually say that.
Bizarro.
So
That's
it's
crazy.
like it's really bad.
É muito ruim, mano.
But like it's not expired yet in the way that I was kind
Interesting.
of seeing everything else. Like everything kind of had a lifespan of 1 week for a while,
Cara,
but
vai
these
usar no
things are
futuro essa
going
porra,
for
essa que
years
horror,
now.
mano.
Once the Backroom film releases, fan projects will be taken down by the studios and you won't be able to make YouTube videos anymore.
That is a very improbable scenario. There's not really any interest in that being an outcome. And like, I mean, I certainly would hate to see that happen. I think it's a unfounded concern for the most part. Maybe not unfounded completely. I think it's good that people are worrying about that.
Tá certo,
Absolutely,
tem que
because it is an
preocupar mesmo. Que
unconventional
pode acontecer
scenario
com a
that
porra
we're in here where
pode existir um cenário que a porra
have
desse
a
Backrooms
major-
dentro do cinema exploda tanto no cinema e funcione, e a porra da 24 junto com outras empresas aí que estão vinculadas juntos começam a olhar isso daí como, tipo, mano, uma marca grande e os caras começam a derrubar os futuros projetos de Backrooms, tá ligado? Porque o nível de qualidade de Kane... Porque a gente não vai ver muita diferença de qualidade, tá? Do filme da 24 com um Ken de Blender, tá ligado? De algum cara na internet. Então talvez os caras comecem a se preocupar quanto a isso. Tá ligado? Fala assim, Melissa, fala. Então eu acho que pode sim no futuro, se isso daí estourar muito, der muito dinheiro no box office e o caralho a 4, as empresas começam a se preocupar e falar, nossa, vamos começar a expandir esse bagulho do Backrooms, a gente pegou os direitos, papá, vamos fazer uma parceria com a Lego e vai lançar um set da parte ali do Backrooms, amarelinho, papá, pipim, meu amigo. Tá ligado? Aí, porque dá pra vender, mano, dá pra vender... Tá ligado? Dá pra vender boneco com roupa amarela, dá pra vender Lego das paredes do Backrooms com um monte de furnitures, caralho a 4. Então, mano, tipo, as pessoas têm que se preocupar com o que pode acontecer no futuro, porque essa porra o Backrooms, ninguém tem direito de nada. Tu não pode fazer o que quiser, é um bagulho aberto, um bagulho público, tá ligado? Mas aí, tipo, o Backrooms, ou The Backrooms, aí tem os direitos, aí os caras começam, porra, é foda, mano.
Motion picture adaptation of
Pode dar merda, e tipo, acaba esses bagulho de fanmade, os bagulho de público, porque, mano, tem muito vídeo de Backrooms, mano, de Blender muito foda, muito.
something that is
Além de jogos, que é totalmente aberto, né? Você precisar Backrooms na porra da Steam, tem 1 bilhão de jogos. De muitos ruins a muito bons.
by all means, it started as an open source sort of public domain idea. So I think there has been no interest in going after people from anyone I've spoken to. I mean, it just seems like a bad idea. Like, we don't want to make people angry at us for no good reason.
Sure. Seems like it spreads its popularity.
I mean, they're letting me make stuff now after the film. There's not really any reason why I couldn't continue that.
It's hard to explain the full Backrooms universe to the studios, which also has me thinking, have you explained your entire Backrooms lore to anyone?
Sim.
Okay, so it is very difficult to do that. I mean, you can give concise versions for sure, but I mean, the studio is not one person. The studio is a bunch of people, and it's mostly the production companies that I've interfaced with so far. The person who would be most concerned with that would be like any writer we're working with. So it's like, it's a big deal to me, but this person has other projects they're working on, and it's not as relevant to them. And so it's good to, I find it's healthy to try to keep myself in line and only target what's going to be specifically needed for like this film.
But have you had to explain what no clipping is?
Oh yeah, that's like the most basic level of things. That would be in the initial pitch to A24 and everything. Like the basic, like, what is the Backrooms? How does it work? Why is it scary? Like all the normal pitch stuff you would have to deliver to a studio. I mean, anything that I think like you could find on the Wikipedia article for it is stuff that like they would know.
You will compose the music in the Backrooms film.
I would like to. Well, I would.
Eu acho que ele deveria.
Too, but I'm on the fence about that because there's maybe a few artists that I would consider wanting to see if we could bring in for that. But I do all the music for the YouTube series. I love doing the music. I just do music for fun as well.
Interesting.
Not Kane Pixels on YouTube. That's my second channel. I usually do like a song a day. Typically, it's kind of like the one. You're asking if I relax ever?
Man.
That's like the one thing I do to relax. I'll spend like an hour.
So
like,
even your relaxation is creating. You're just always creating something, I feel like.
I like to be, yeah. Not always,
Interesting.
but I like to be, yeah. Most of the time, I would say that's the case.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do music, and I would very much like to do it for the film.
This is a good assumption. There are no toilets in the Backrooms. Or at least no working ones.
No, there are.
There are?
And there probably are working ones too, yeah.
Okay.
And that's not like me, yeah, not on the spot. Logically, it would make sense if there are.
Okay. Assumption, one that I'm curious about is when I'm watching the Backroom stuff, I'm like, is there
Ai,
food?
meu Deus.
Yeah, there's probably food. It would probably be really hard to find.
Yeah.
And it might be rotted.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, I'm sure there's food. How do
Okay.
you define food?
So,
Like food for who?
for me.
For you.
For me.
Okay, but like, what do you consider, like, what's your spectrum of food?
Fodeu.
Probably broader than most people. Like some potato chips or something. Maybe a can of soup.
So like, on the scale between soup and table, like, how close to table are you able to get?
Caralho.
I've never thought about that.
God.
Okay, if you had to pick a number between 1 and 10.
Probably like a 3.
Okay, well, yeah, well then you might be able to find food, but it's probably not. You'd probably die.
Okay.
Foi madeira?
Good.
Water
know.
would be easier. Water would be easier.
Water'd be easier.
Yeah, water would be easier.
Interesting. You really know, you know all the rules to this.
I don't go outside.
Okay.
I do actually really love hiking.
Say I were to no clip into your Backrooms universe, would my body be functioning the same way it's functioning right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You would behave normally.
So I would eventually get hungry, I would eventually get thirsty.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I try to, with this interpretation, just be as, obviously it's a fictitious concept. There is a gray area.
Eu acho que ele devia mudar isso. Eu acho que a lentidão de cansaço e a lentidão de ficar com fome tinha que ser, tipo... Em vez de ser tipo, 100% o normal, o padrão, acho que tinha, tipo, diminuir. Tipo, mano, você tinha que demorar muito pra ficar com fome. Pra você ficar com fome tinha que ser umas 40 horas pra tu começar a sentir fome, tá ligado? Se você comeu daqui a 40 horas tu começa a sentir fome. Começar a sentir fome. Porque, mano, tu vai andar num vazio infinito, mano, tá ligado? E aí você vai ficar andando, correndo, etc. Fugindo. Mano, tu vai. Em 3 horas tu já vai estar passando mal de fome, de cansaço, de sede. Tipo, mano, provavelmente você não encontre comida. E a comida é raro, e a comida é ruim, e a água vai existir, mas não vai só água que te salva, tá ligado? E aí você só se fode, mano. E aí você só se fode, velho. Sinceramente. Tá ligado? Isso que é foda, mano.
Where you have to just say it's pseudoscience, but like,
Sure.
to the highest degree I can, I like to try to keep everything as grounded as possible. So,
Interesting.
yeah, you would rot.
Okay. This is from this is an assumption written in from one of our coworkers at Smosh. Aaron Dougal wrote, all the toilet paper in the back rooms is one
What
ply.
is it with toilets?
Look, man, we're Smosh. That's our humor, I guess.
I'm gonna assume that the only toilet paper in the back rooms is 1 ply.
No.
Okay.
No, there's variety. 30 ply.
There's 30 ply.
Well, if you get lucky.
Wow. I need to go to the back rooms now. Animals?
What do you call an animal? What's that? What do you consider an
Ah,
animal?
meu Deus.
These responses scare me more than the back rooms. This adds such a layer to it.
Like, what's the difference between a table and a dog?
Oi, como estás?
Black Onid, obrigado pelo Black Oni DBR, obrigado pelos 9, mano, tamo junto.
A dog, okay. Wow, never thought about that. A dog is a living organism that has aspects that are moving within it, and
Where did this come from?
cells came from a tree but it's dead. It's a dead tree.
Okay, is the dog alive?
Yes, the dog is
For
alive.
how long? When? Like, what years?
Let's imagine a dog that was alive, that's currently alive,
On the table.
standing on the
Okay,
table.
cool. What type of dog?
Let's make it a pug.
Okay, cool.
It's alive and it's walking around on top of the table.
Yeah, that could be there. Pug on a table.
Well, it's alive, so you're gonna hop off the table.
Yeah.
Could run around.
Well, it wouldn't live forever.
Well, no, but it's a.
But how did it get in there?
Did it no clip into there?
Well, yeah. Well, then it would run around and probably eventually stop running around.
I am terrified right now.
Foda. É por isso que vai
This
ser bom.
is, man,
Esse filme vai ser bom.
It's you?
this is awesome. That to me added so much more unknown to this.
That's good to know. I'll lean into that.
Vai ser muito bom esse filme.
Thank you so much for being here. On that
Ele é
on that
cabeça pra
terrifying
caralho.
note, I feel like that's a perfect place to end this off.
I agree. That was good.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for answering all these assumptions.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
This was really great.
great.
I mean, you're currently uploading stuff. I mean, by the time this comes out, will you have more uploads on your channel?
I'm working on another series right now that has not really been teased much, not been released. Who knows? I could cancel the whole thing, or I could get too busy with the Backrooms film very soon, and I might not be able to post it till the movie's out, which could be a while. But in the case that doesn't happen, there probably will be something within the next couple weeks. So
Okay,
and that'll be a new series, a new thing I'm very interested in.
Mais uma
excited to
série?
share.
fantastic.
So that'll be
Caralho,
fun.
Oldest View, Backrooms e vem mais
Thank you, Kane. And then I no clip out of here, and it's like it's gone. So our next guests on Assumptions are going to be Sam and Colby. They're the top paranormal researchers on YouTube. Do you have any assumptions for them?
I assume they most likely will either edit sounds or aspects of the experience are deliberately manipulated to make a more engaging viewership experience.
I think that's a good assumption.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most obvious one.
I assume they drive a Subaru Outback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's a fair assumption. I've never met them personally, but a Sam and a Kobe, they're driving a Subaru Outback.
Foi uma,
Sam Colby
uma
do
suposição, uma realidade e uma afinetada, né?
Maybe
Esses caras
that's a
Both
good
named
assumption.
Paul.
They're both named Paul. That's my assumption now. Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Well, what's the difference between a Paul and a Sam? What's
Which
the difference
one's on the
between
table?
Yeah, which one's on the table? That's the question.
own
What
dog?
years were Sam and Colby alive for? You
When
know?
did they die? What year?
What-
Caralho, vai
Yeah,
dar
when?
merda.
When will they?
Esse filme vai ser o doido.
When will they turn into ghosts? What's the difference between a ghost and a
Are
human?
they haunting themselves?
Exactly, man.
We're all hunting ourselves.
I'm always saying
Esse
that.
filme vai ser uma doideira da hora, velho.
This is fun. This is fun. This is good. I enjoy this.
Esse filme vai ser do caralho, mano. Mano, é legal ver que o Anthony tá, tipo, com os caras do Smosh de novo, com o projeto tudo junto, fazendo uns bagulho com outras pessoas trabalhando dentro do canal do cara, tá ligado? Porque o Smosh é iconic. É realmente... Agora achei que era o PewDiePie, que susto. Ele é icônico, mano. E ele saiu do Smosh, aí voltou, e, tipo, agora tem uns caras que trabalham pro Smosh e trabalham com ele, e, tipo, mano... E os vídeos estão saindo muito bem, e são todos os caras que trabalham no Smosh, são os caras que falam muito bem, e todos que trabalham no Smosh são caras de 2009, 2010 do YouTube. E a galera olha pra esses vídeos, quem é old, e vê o jeito que eles falam, o jeito que eles comunicam. É tão você voltar atrás no YouTube e ver um cara legítimo conversando e batendo um papo, não é a porra dos degenerados dos anos atuais que parece que só quer conversar de uma forma... Tá ligado? Pra farmar ou pra engajar, tomar no cu, porra de palavras chatas do caralho, mano. E aí quando eu vi que o Smosh tá agora puxando os manos old mesmo do Smosh, que agora, né, que ele saiu, o Anthony saiu do Smosh, aí deixou os caras lá fazendo as comédias dele, e aí eles se juntaram de novo, e agora, tipo, tem várias pessoas do Smosh aí old. Mano, esse vídeo do Kane Pixel é do caralho, você vê esse vídeo, você sabe que vai sair um bagulho foda. Ele falou em semana, o vídeo já dá 2 semanas. Então a gente provavelmente tá vendo uma nova série dele, se não der merda, né, com o começo realmente da gravação aí do filme. Então provavelmente ano que vem, já em janeiro, já temos um vídeo novo do Kane Pixels aí, com a nova série, um bagulho que vai estourar aí. E vai ser da hora de reagir, mano. Porque o trabalho desse cara aqui, ninguém encosta, mano. Hoje ninguém encosta. A qualidade que faz é absurda.